Even though they meant to do it. 5:30 p.m. Welcome everyone. I declare tonight's ordinary council meeting, the 25th of March 2026. Declaration of opening is made at 5:30 p.m. So I did say it last week, but I'm going to say it again because it's quite important. So I'd like to acknowledge the passing of former councillor John Proud, who passed away on the 9th of March 2026. John Proud served in the Shire of Northam as an elected council member from 2015 to 2029. During this time, John contributed to an important period of growth and development to the Shire, supporting initiatives that helped shape Northam's future, including the planning of the Northam Aquatic Facility, the construction of Billiard Court Budja, and a period of significant private sector investment and development within the district. John was well known through his role as editor of the Avon Valley Advocate, and in that position he worked to represent and promote the communities of the Avon Valley. And just as a footnote, I was approached from other towns where John was an editor of other papers previously, who wanted to pass on their condolences as well. With a professional background in the official reporting of parliamentary debates and in managing regional newspapers, John approached his work with a strong sense of responsibility to public discourse and community representation. Reflecting on his time on council, John noted that Northam had long been regarded as on the verge of something significant, and he took pride in being part of a council that helped the Shire move beyond that point during a period of major development led by both government and the private sector. John also served the community through the Anglican parish, including the role of warden. On behalf of the council and the community of Northam and other communities, we acknowledge John's service and contribution to our Shire and extend our sincere condolences to his family, friends and everyone who knew him. John's commitment to the Northern community will be remembered with appreciation. And if you're watching this soon, John's funeral is actually this Friday at St George's Cathedral in the city. As such was his position in the Anglican Church. So item number 2 is opening procedures. 2.1 is acknowledgement of country. So on behalf of the Shire, I'd like to acknowledge the continuing connection of Aboriginal people to country, culture and community. And acknowledge the embracing the vast Aboriginal cultural diversity throughout Australia. On the land of the Ballonong Noongar and Whadjuk Noongar people where we meet, we acknowledge and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. So then we go to page 7, so item 2.2, recording of council meetings. Members of council are aware, and members of the gallery, that's members of the public there, are advised that this meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded, and it's made available on the Shire of Northam's YouTube channel. If members of the public would like to have access to the recording of this meeting, they can do so via the Shire of Northam website. Item number 3 is attendees. The council members, as sitting around the table, I will just go from left to right and welcome everyone as per normal. Councillor Hughes, welcome. Councillor Mencelli, welcome. President Antonio, that's myself. Councillor Gierak, welcome. And Councillor Bigland, welcome. We'll just get to the other councillors. We're just going to make sure that the minutes show the correct all the councillors' names in there. So we've got the staff, we've got the Chief Executive Officer, Ms Terrelink, Executive Manager Engineering Services, Mr Devsich, Executive Manager Corporate Services, Mr Streets, Manager Governance and Risk, Ms McCall, Manager Planning and Environment, Mr Farnworth, Governance and Risk Officer, Ms Blase, and Manager Finance, very good, is Ms Green. White. I'll get mixed up with the if it's not in front of me, I apologise. I'll make a mistake. I'm so focused on getting the title right. So then we have item 3.2. I've got all the stuff, yes. Item 3.2, apologies. We have an apology from Councillor Ryan and staff, Executive Manager Development and Community Services, Mr Hunt. Item 3.3 is approved leave of absence. Councillor Williams has been granted a leave of absence from 20 March 2026 to 2nd of April 2026 inclusive. Councillor Polton has been granted a leave of absence from 15 March 2026 to 27 March 2026 inclusive. Item 3.4, absent is nil. Item number 4 is disclosure of interest. We do have a number that I'll read through. It's the item up. I'll summarise those as well. And councillors are well aware that as an item comes up and you haven't declared an interest, you can do so before we start debate or discussion. So the first item is 13.3.1, which is proposed scheme amendment 24E Alphabello. Lot 2 is 721, that's 3349 Great Eastern High 1 Dowie. So the following councillors have declared impartiality. That's Councillor Antonio, Councillor Hughes, Councillor Mencelli, and that's it, that's 3. All are impartial, so President Antonio, planning consultant mentioned in the report is known to President Antonio, Councillor Hughes, Cobus Newell, the planning consultant is known to Councillor Hughes, Councillor Mencelli, planning consultant, Cobus Newell is known to Councillor Mencelli. So then we go to item number 5 on page 9, that's announcements by the presiding member without discussion. So we'll take that as read. And then we go to page 12. Just going to go the slow way to get to page 12. So item number 6 is public questions. So the public questions were asked and answered. The recording is on the forum meeting, so they were addressed last week, so they're there for information this week, but they were answered appropriately. And there was no other public questions. I'll just double check. Came in? No? So then we've got on page 13, we've got item number 7 is response to previous public questions taken on notice, that is nil. Item number 8 is receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. 8.1 petition is nil. 8.2 is presentations. So I'm going to invite Deputy President Councillor Mencelli to present a certificate of appreciation, and I'll let Councillor Mencelli describe the rest.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some time ago, I went down to the Oval part of the town where we installed the beautiful new lights and witnessed a game with the Northern Touch Football fraternity, and they were really appreciative of the assistance that council gave them in terms of using that particular facility, and their president, Brett Inglis, presented a certificate, and I would like to formally hand that over to the Shire President, if I may.
And I'll show that to the camera. Thank you, Councillor Mencelli. So I'll just show that to the camera. Not anyone can read it from the camera. But it's here, so I'll gladly accept the certificate. And from the Shire's point of view, thank you for the staff that involve all the clubs. We support as many clubs and groups as possible, so it's good to get a certificate of appreciation. So that'll be stored, as I say, in the CEO's office with all the appreciation certificates and awards that we've got. So thank you very much. And item 8.3 is deputations. Before I invite a member of the public up, just make a note that we had a deputation last week from Wheatbelt NRM. So a lovely appreciation was conveyed to the Shire from Wheatbelt NRM for the cemetery contract with the Wheatbelt NRM Rangers. So that was very timely and very fitting. And I do know there is another deputation request. So I believe that Mr. Hanna is going to make this deputation. So I'll just invite Mr. Hanna up to the microphone.
You want me to chair or?
Just normally council meetings we get people to stand, so that's not nothing against you, that's everyone on the same page. Can you just say your name on it?
My name is Paul Hanna. I'm the owner of the complex, which settled 29th of December 2025, so it's been just under 3 months. So just a little bit of history about that. I renovated and owned the club hotel in Southern Cross and spent a lot of time going past for sale signs and bits and pieces, and wondered what was actually behind the wall, and I rang the agent and we went in and saw it. Wow, what a place. So that's how it started for me about a year ago. I've got my architect with me, Yami Awusu, who actually did the work for me at Club Hotel in Southern Cross, and he's working with me on this particular project. So we put an offer in about after the expressions of interest to the public through Value Night Frank about 4 months ago, and subsequent to that there was huge lots of vandalism and smashed windows and stuff stolen and copper pipes, you name it. So we started off the right foot, but in between there was this fair really frank. But we managed to get over that and negotiated with the owners that they either fix the place up or give us a discount. So we finally got to an agreement 29th of March. Sorry, 29th of actually. 29th of December. So it's new. Okay, so what we're planning to do there is to totally renovate the existing centre building, keep it exactly the way it is. It's Spanish architecture, and enhance it to a lot of the. Well, we need to spend a lot of money to get to bring up to date. That's painting and ceilings and you name it, flooring and all that. But generally speaking, it's in a very good state of affairs. It's a very sound building. Really, nothing's going to change as we're concerned. So we're very keen to keep that Spanish theme. It is unique, really, in Australia. That's what our research tells us. There is no other type of resort around it. So in that condition. So it is quite a thing. So we've got a lot of responsibility to get it right. So we're putting a lot of time into planning, how we do that, what colour schemes, how it works. And landscaping is going to be one of the keys of that. At the back of the building, because what you see at the front is not what you see at the back. So when I first saw it, it was like, wow, when you go at the back where the arena is and all the Spanish, it's quite something. So we're going to be spending a lot of money in doing that right. We have done some conceptual plans, which I think was in that package we sent. But that was 8 months ago, so we've changed slightly, but in general principle, the building is going to stay as it is. It's going to be upgraded to today's standards. So that's electrical, obviously cosmetic, but generally speaking, it's not a huge construction. It's in very good nick, so it's really decoration and that sort of thing. But so we'll keep it. We'll keep the wedding hall. We're doing that up now. We'll keep the seminar rooms. We're very keen on seminars and conferences and weddings and that type of thing. So that they're being looked at as we talk. Redoing some of the roof painting, and it's been a few leaks. A few more leaks this weekend. So in general terms, we won't be doing anything that's not really already there, apart from the application in the scheme amendment for the light industrial side of things. So at the moment on site there's 40 combination units. It just isn't enough to for weddings and people wanting to come, we need more rooms, in other words. So that will be in our, is in our planning, as is essentially the eastern block, which is around about 4 acres, near the garages and so forth. So we have asked through Tor Lottery to give us some light industrial uses that we can use. You're probably going to say, well, why do you want that? It's something that I'd like to just quickly tell you. We do see there's a bit of a market for an innovation, small innovation hub along that, along the highway there, for people that want to be innovative in manufacturing. So that's essentially what we want there, is to entrepreneur things like hemp manufacturing of blocks, tilt-up panels. We've done a lot of work on that with engineers and so forth. So I'm very happy to tell you how that works a little bit later, but we need the approval to be able to get that underway. So that's what we want to do along that trip. Also a garden centre, so we've asked for that, which I think fits in with the resort, hydroponics, sort of tourist thing as well, because hydroponics is something that is very big in the Middle East and elsewhere. It's not all that big in WA, and I think that there's a market there for that, to, you know, feed the resort and have a bit of a tourist leg to it as well. So yeah, so so the special approval, which we're dealing with Paul on, is very, very happy with that we can do what we want to do there. So, yeah, unless there's something else that sorry, I didn't mention the wellness centre. On board there is a spa and a sauna and all sorts of things. Very old fashioned, but we do want to bring that back, and probably will ask to do some building on top around that as well, because it's simply not big. So we want to bring that well inside to the resort as well. It's already on site, but we just want to improve it and possibly enlarge it. So at one stage we were talking about it being a wellness centre. It just won't pay to won't pay the bills. So, but as a part of the overall thing, it's a good thing to do. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you. I just thought, you know, we had a debate and make a decision, but I just, and I've already checked with Mr. Hanna, see if there's any burning questions from councillors, just something you wanted to clarify just while you're there. If there's any questions. Yes, Councillor Mitchell.
Mr. President and Mr. Hanna, I'm really interested in the light industrial proposal. What's involved in that? What are you looking at exactly?
In terms of square metre?
No, the types of enterprises that you want to include in the area.
Well, one of them, as I mentioned, was to put an innovation hub. So that's pretty broad, I get that, but we're really interested in hemp manufacturing blocks and all things made out of hemp. We've got a lot of research done on that. So we'd like to actually anchor that particular lighthouse with, you know, flooring, roofing, blocks. You can make great houses out of it, all up to code. So we did have a French president from Paris out two weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, that actually just blew our minds with what they're doing in Europe, and it wants us to his group, the European group, to innovate here in Australia. So it's bringing limestone, proper limestone mixing, without using sand and a whole lot of technical stuff, which maybe later. But the long and short of it is that actually, I think, will anchor any light industrial because it's such a very big market.
I'm clarify for the recording that the French president is the French president of the Hemp Society, not the French president of. That's a big thing.
But yeah, so look, it was he loved Elf. He just look, he loved it. Help us use some of their products and knowledge and education. Big thing there is education. So what they do in Europe is educate builders because they go, okay, you know, blah blah blah. What does it mean? So his main job is to educate builders on what benefits are, how big they have, blah blah blah. So we can do that easily in the rooms we've got at Elder Park. That all fits in. We're quite excited by that. Then, look, there'll be others as well as time goes on. Innovation, which once people know that we're open to do that, I think there'll be a very big market out this way. For people wanting to set up shop out this way.
Yes. Okay, a question from Councillor Bigland.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just clarifying the head, can you confirm that you're not actually making the product there? So if I'm looking at it from a noise perspective, it being light industrial, or are you just putting it together as such?
It's putting together. It's more of a, there won't be any noise factor there at all. So it'll be more of a show and tell demonstration of what it can do.
So most of your light industrial ideas would be along that line, like potentially electronic, so it's not actually physically making things.
Those make sense.
No.
Well, we can't really even have the zoning, so yeah.
I just want to check whether there's any other questions because we've got this one coming soon. So yeah, that's right. Oh, thanks, Mr. Hack.
Okay.
And just with anyone in the public, quite welcome to stay or go after your item comes. Right. So we're going to bring yours forward in a couple of minutes, but you don't need reference to me if you want to stay or go afterwards. Okay. And I've just remiss of me, I did go through public questions. Sorry, no, you're right, Mr. Hack. Public questions. I just wanted to make sure that on the gallery, if there was any other questions, we didn't actually check with the gallery. If there was any, I didn't check before. No, I just wanted to make sure. So that's all right. So thank you very much. So now we go to page 15. Item number 9 is application for the leave of absence. You'll just note that we've got the correct dates, which matches the recommendation. So there's a recommendation there, which Councillor Hughes is moving, Councillor Bigland is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. Congratulations, Councillor Hitchell. So item number 10 is confirmation of minutes. So 10.1 is confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held 25th February 2026. There wasn't any questions. Councillor Bigland is moving. Councillor Mancelli is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. And then we've got 10.2 notes from the council forum meeting held 18th of March 2026. I'll just check if there's any questions first. Sorry, Councillor Hughes. See, because it is a new item, so see if there's any questions or clarifications. Then I'll defer to you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Hughes is moving. Councillor Gear is seconding. Anyone like to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. We now go to page 42. And just going to 42. So we're doing item number 11, which is items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. So I'm going to go straight to item 13.3.1, which is on page 93. So this is proposed scheme amendment 24, El Caballo, lot 271, which is 3349 Great Eastern Highway 1 Dowling. Just a reminder, so as President Antonio and Councillors Hughes and Deputy President Councillor Mencelli have declared an impartiality interest in this item, all councillors declare that they will consider this matter on its merit and vote accordingly. It's on page 93, but there's a recommendation that goes from page 99 to page 103. Councillor Mencelli is moving. Councillor Hughes is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. So that's carried, gentlemen, as presented. Are you aware? Right, we'll just say we're going. So then we go back to page 42. So then we go to item number 12, which is reports of committee meetings. Item 12.1 is minutes from the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on 17th February 2026. There's a receipt of minutes in the first instance. Councillor Mencelli is moving, Councillor Gierak is seconding. So, anyone going to speak against or after that? No. So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. And then we have the adoption of the recommendation starting on page 42. And that goes over to page 42. I saw Councillor Gierak first moving, Councillor Mencelli is seconding. So anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. Then we go to page 72. The item 13 is officer reports. 13.1 is the CEO's office. 13.1.1 is set for consultation electoral reform discussion paper. There's a recommendation on page 80, and for reference, we did have a lot of question and answers on this last week. Councillor Mencelli is moving as written. Councillor Hughes is seconding as written. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. And I'm just making it short for the recording. We did have a lot of question and answers on this last week and a lot of discussion. So, so that was on page 80. So then I'll still go to page 93. So 13.2 is engineering services. That is nil. So then we go to page 164 because we've already dealt with the other item and development community services 164. So 13.4 is corporate services. 13.4.1 is accounts and statements of accounts February 2026. Recommendations on page 166. Councillor Hughes is moving. Councillor Gierak is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried. Then we go to page 222. So 13.4.2 is financial statements for the period ending 28th February 2026. There's a recommendation on page 224. Councillor Mencelli is moving. Councillor Gierak is seconding. Is anyone going to speak against? All those in favour by a show of hands? 5-0, that's carried. Then we go to page 245. 245. There's item 13.4.3, budget review 2025-2026. There's lots of questions and answers on this and the recommendations on page 250. Councillor Mencelli is moving. Councillor Bigland is seconding. Is anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 5-0, that's carried, and it's good because just for the public record, 5 were required to pass that. So that's what's happened. Then we go to page 266. So item 14 is matters behind closed doors. Can I please have a mover and a second, please? Councillor Hughes is moving. Councillor Gierak is seconding. Procedure, we'll put straight to the vote. All those in favour? All those in favour? 5-0. Carried. I do need it. That's right. We'll just go back to the main agenda while we wait for the public to come in. That's 14. I'll read that as they come in.
Well, that's true. Thank you very much.
As the members of the public are coming in, they'll be able to hear and I can do it for the recording. So we had 4 items behind closed doors. So item 14.1 was sale of land for recovery of unpaid rates. The recommendation was that Council 1, pursuant to section 6.641B of the Local Government Act 1995, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to take possession of A11367, which has rates in arrears for more than 3 years. Item 2 in the same recommendation authorises the Chief Executive Officer to dispose of A11367 in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995 by public auction with the reserve price set at 100% of the outstanding debt. That was carried 5-0. Item 14.2, which is application under CP.29 rates hardship. The recommendation was 1. Council approves the payment arrangement of $25 per fortnight for the current owners of A10521 until 30 June 2027. Number 2 of the same recommendation, approve ceasing further interest accruals on A10521 until 30 June 2027. That was carried 5-0. 14.3, vesting application A15670, A15671, A15672. The recommendation was that Council 1 authorises the Chief Executive Officer to approve a vesting order application for A15670, A15671 and A15672 in accordance with the Bankruptcy Act 1966 to take possession of the above properties. Item 2 authorises the Chief Executive Officer to dispose of A15670, A15671 and A15672 in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995 by public auction with the reserve price set at 100% of the outstanding debt, and that was carried 5-0. Then we had item 14.4, legal action for recovery of unpaid rates. The recommendation was that Council 1 authorises the Chief Executive Officer to issue a property seizure and sale order on goods and land for A601 in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995, excluding the identified property. 2, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to issue a property seizure and sale order on goods and land for A526 in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995, excluding the identified property. And that was carried 5-0. Thank you. And then we came out from behind closed doors. So we are on page 266 of our agenda. So then we go to item 15, which is motions of which previous notice has been given. That is nil. Item 16, urgent business approved by decision. That is nil. Item 17, declaration of closure is made at 6:06 p.m. And I'd just like to thank members of the public for participating, councillors for your participation, research, question and answers over the 2 weeks, and officers as always professional and provide